What's going on, everybody? So I'm wrapping up my trip here in Langley Air Force Base for my cousin's change of command. So I thought I would just take you guys around. There's a couple static displays here on base that I just take you guys a quick around and show you. Typically, videotaping on a base is persona non grata. However, it's Friday afternoon. Most of the flying's done. And these static displays, I feel pretty safe in doing so. So follow me, and there's a couple static displays here, and then I'll close it out for this trip. All right, the first static display we're going to see here is the B-52 Stratofortress. It's in the, I guess you would call southern part of this base. So the Stratofortress was the Air Force's strategic bomber back in the probably late 50s, starting in the late 50s, after all the World War II bombers were decommissioned. The Stratofortress is a huge aircraft. It's very, very intimidating, especially when it's on the ground. This one's actually about 10 feet up on these concrete pillars. But if you ever see one in a museum and it's on the ground, it's very intimidating because it is such a large aircraft. What's nice is they created this statue area, this display with the aircraft, and they have all of these kind of like a pseudo stadium seating at this display, which is really nice because that allows different squadrons or different events to happen, change of commands, retirement events, large aircraft engines. It allows people to do things by the static displays that normally wouldn't happen. Typically, static displays at bases, while they're very common at every base for the most part, typically they're in the middle of a grass field. Nobody visits them or appreciates them other than driving by and saying, wow, that's neat. So this is a unique opportunity for the folks of the base here to actually use the static display for something. So here we have plaques of some of the bomber crews that were lost during Vietnam. There's 4 of them total here. Sorry, they're a little hard to read. Looks like they haven't been cleaned off in quite a while. In fact, this display looks like it's probably, I don't know, somewhere around probably 30 years old, just based on the red concrete or the red brickwork. I don't have any information on this particular aircraft, and it doesn't look like there's anything here that tells you about this particular aircraft, as you would typically see in a museum or something like that. So we're left to kind of figure that on our own. I may do some research later, see if I can figure it out based on the numbers they're showing me here. Here are the last 2 plaques. Well, the Air Force has only been around since 1947. It typically does a really good job of telling its history. through various aircraft, various museums, so forth and so on. So if you are a family member or a friend, or just recognize any of the names on those plaques, or know where this aircraft came from, give me a shout out, send me a comment in below, and we'll post that and give everybody the lowdown on what this aircraft was. So here's the bomb bay doors. And then if you look here, it's hard to see because it's black on black. If you look here, right there, there's mounting brackets on this side and on this side of the wing. And they use those for various things. Particularly, you might have seen NASA when they launch their missiles or testing different various vehicles. They will mount stuff on the back of bottom of B-52s. There's one down. There's one over in California at Edwards Air Force Base that was the designated NASA B-52, and it launched all the X planes from it. I don't know if you've noticed this coming up. I shot it, but so at the back of the airframe there is 4 guns, and that was used primarily for defensive purposes during the Cold War, because the B-52 was so slow that they thought that it would be a perfect opportunity target for Russian MiGs to, shoot them down. So they have defensive capabilities. Obviously, that's not going to be enough, but they had something. I know this isn't a static display, but I want you to make note of these pavilions right here on Langley. While I like the design, these pavilions themselves are very, very old. I would probably say they're probably 30 to 40 years old, if not more. So they look like they need some love. I don't know how often these things are used. Maybe, if they do a event out here, they'll use them for barbecues or something, squadron barbecues or something. But there you have it. There is the B-52 at Langley Air Force Base. All right, so we're at the other static displays here on Langley Air Force Base. This is a large, parade ground area. There's a little bit of the surroundings. So Langley is right on the bay. I don't know if you guys look on Google Maps or something. Langley is pretty much surrounded by water on a peninsula. It's a very pretty base to be at. General Jerome O'Malley, who was commander of TAC, or Tactical Air Command, from 84 to 85. Not 100% sure which one this is. I want to say maybe an F-86. Not 100%. I do know that this one is an F-15. And then the one on the far way back there is an F-16. Yeah, so this is, I was right. This is an F-86 Sabre. I always like it when the static displays on bases have flags around them. It makes it more regal, I guess you could say. All right, here we are coming up to an F-15 static display. Now, the Air Force currently is using F-15s. In fact, as you come into the west gate of Langley Air Force Base, there's an F-15 on static display as well. This one almost looks like an F-111, but I'm not 100% sure. Let's go over there and find out. Nope, I was wrong. This is an F-105, known as a Thunder Chief. Now that I'm up close, I can tell the difference. I thought it had swept back wings, which was be indicative of uh, the F-111 aardvark. But this is definitely the Thunder Chief. And this is definitely a real airframe. So this isn't just a mock-up of an airframe. This is a real airframe that they've put on stanchions. And then over here is probably my favorite aircraft since I've ever remember is the F-16 Fighting Falcon. For some reason, I've always loved this aircraft, commonly known as lawn darts to folks that fly them because they only have single engine. That engine goes out, they pretty much it. They have wingtip Sidewinder missiles, AIM-9 Sidewinder missile mounts, so they can do all that. So it's an impressive. I do enjoy this static displays at each of these bases that I go to. I don't really film them a whole lot, but they're typically at most bases. So if you have access to a base or know somebody's access to the base, they can obviously look for you. Some bases, depending on their mission, will have whatever their mission is. Thunder Chief's back end. Little fun fact, the F-86 Sabre. This was the aircraft that my flight in NCO Academy was named after. We were the Sabre flight. So I should have realized what this was, 100% of the time. But, all right, there you have it. There is the tour of the static displays here at Langley.